Hey y'all, you know what time it is. Woo! Get into it! Get into it! Yes! Get into it. We are back, darlings. We are back, lovelies. We are back with Storytime with Chris. And as I always say, you do not have to watch these videos when they go live. You're more than welcome to watch them in your downtime, nap time, max and relax and chillaxing time, break time, in between time, scheming time, evening time, midnight hour time, whenever you want to hear a highly animated voice bring you wonderful stories of magic, fantasy, science fiction, adventure, and many, many more in between. And no, I do not own the music that you are hearing in the background, which is brought to you yet again by our wonderful friend on YouTube, Mr. Ambiance. Please show them some love. They have great ambient music from different TV shows, movies, anime, anything you could possibly think of. They have ambient music geared toward the themes and the subjects and styles of certain media. So please go show them some love. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already done so, please like and share and subscribe to the YouTube channel for Storytime with Chris. Only take less than 3 seconds. And no, I don't do this for profit. This is my passion project for my love of the magic of literature. And I mean what I say. Books are magic. Without books, we wouldn't have some of the greatest films or greatest stories that we've ever known. Without books, we wouldn't have some of the greatest technologies that we've ever known, like the cell phone, for example, that I'm recording from. But we are back with The Castle of Llyr by Lloyd Alexander. And honestly, as I was thinking about it, because I just got back from Cleveland, I went out of town for the weekend. It was a lot better than what I expected. I'm not going to get emotional right now because it's still hitting me, but it turned out a lot better than what I was expecting, even more so than what I was expecting. So I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful. I do want to bring up one thing though. I had a good colleague of mine who watches Storytime with Chris made a comment earlier today and said, oh, I think it's so amazing that you wear your hair turbans and head wraps when you do story time. I need to preface something. I do not wear them for religious purposes. For those within the Black and brown community that know what it's like firsthand to live with natural hair, natural curly kinky hair, we wear those things in order to maintain the style of our natural hair. I have dreadlocks, and yes, I said dreadlocks. I do not find that term to be demeaning or offensive. I've reclaimed it as a positive. Because a lot of other colleagues of mine who are in that community of people refer to them as locks and twists. It doesn't matter to me. I have always known them as dreadlocks, and I love that term, even though I know originally where it comes from. But that's another story for another day. I don't wear my wraps for religious purposes. That is not the reason why I wear them. It's to maintain my style so that it doesn't get frizzy or come undone or look unkempt. So in order for me to maintain that, which I moisturize my hair every day, I take very good care of myself, and I love my natural hair, and this is how it grows. This is how it moves. I mean, right now, it's in a ponytail, but I just wanted to clear the air on that and just, letting our fellow parents and guardians know, like, there's love in this house. You can be whoever you are. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to discriminate. We don't do prejudice in this house, whatever background you may be from. So I just wanted to say that to clear that notion. I could have been a politician. No, I don't need that headache in my life. I don't need to be going up to the podium. I don't know how. I don't know when. But something awful is going to happen. No further questions. I just walk away. No, that's not me. I'm just a goofy person here to read wonderful stories. Stories that I love. And we probably will read more of Lloyd Alexander's works. But enough of that. Got my glasses clean. Oh, I can't believe I still can do that. Oh, there you go. Actually, I shouldn't do that because I don't want to get in trouble for copyright. Okay. This chapter is not too bad. We're actually on chapter 8, so we're about a quarter of the way through the novel. Typically, Lloyd Alexander's books within the Chronicles of Prydain go to about 20 chapters. So we're going to be streamlining these through, and I will be posting the newer episodes later on tonight. So please bear with me and be patient. All right. Excuse me. Without further ado, we will begin. Chapter 8. The Harp of Llyr. "Fly from here," urged the bard, never ceasing to pluck his harp strings. "Begone! I've no idea how long she'll want to listen, or how long I can keep playing." "There must be another way," Taran cried. "We can't leave you." "I like it no more than you do," replied the bard, "but this is your chance. You must take it now." Taran hesitated. Llyr's face was grim and drawn, and he seemed already weary. "Begone!" Llyr repeated. "I'll play as long as I can. By then, if she's not decided to gobble me, she may go out hunting. Don't worry. If the harp fails, I'll think of something else." Sick at heart, Taran turned away. Lyon lay on her side across the threshold, her one paw outstretched, the other gently curled against her tawny body. Her neck arched and her huge head turned toward Llyr. The fierce creature seemed altogether comfortable and peaceful. With yellow eyes half closed, she watched only the bard, as Taran stealthily moved to join Gurgi and Prince Rune. Taran's sword remained with the other weapons beneath her paw, and he dared not attempt to snatch it away, fearful as he was of breaking the spell of Llyr's harp. The fallen stones at the corner of the hut gave a narrow passage into the clearing. Taran motioned hurriedly for the prince to go through. Gurgi followed on tiptoe, eyes wide with fright. He clutched his jaws in both hands to keep his teeth from chattering. Hopefully you can hear that sound. Chattering teeth. Reminds me of Scooby-Doo when I think of chattering teeth. Do 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 wow 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 wow. Taran still hung back and turned once more to the bard, who gestured frantically. "Out, out!" commanded Llyr. "I shall find you as soon as I can. Did I not promise you a new song? You shall hear it from my own lips. Until then, farewell!" Llyr's tone and glance left no room for question. Taran flung himself past the stones. In another instant, he was free of the hut. As Taran feared, the horses had broken their tethers and fled at the sight of Lyon. Gurgi and Prince Rune had crossed the clearing and vanished into the forest, racing at top speed. Taran soon caught up with them. Rune's pace had already begun to flag. His breathing was labored, and he looked as though his legs might give away at any moment. Taran and Gurgi caught the staggering prince and bore him along as fast as they could. For some while the three struggled through the underbrush. The forest had begun to grow sparser, and Taran caught sight of a broad meadow. At the edge of the flat land he halted. Prince Rune, he knew, had reached the end of his strength, and he hoped only that they were a safe distance from Lyon. The Prince of Mona gratefully dropped to the turf. "I shall be up and about in a moment," he feebly insisted. His face was pale and drawn beneath its coating of soot, yet he tried valiantly to assume his usual cheerful grin. "Amazing how running seems to tire one. I'll be glad when we find the master of horse, and I can ride again." Taran did not answer immediately, but looked closely at Rune. The Prince of Mona bowed his head. "I can guess what you're thinking," Rune said in a low voice. "If it hadn't been for me, you wouldn't be in this plight. And I'm afraid you're right. It's my fault things turn out as they did. I can only ask your forgiveness. I'm not the cleverest person in the world." Rune added, smiling sadly, "Even my own nurse used to say I was all thumbs. But I hate being a blunderer. It's not what people expect of a prince. I didn't ask to be born into the royal house. That, at least, wasn't my doing. But since I was, I want very much to be worthy of it." "If you want to, then you shall," Taran answered, suddenly and strangely touched by the Prince of Mona's frankness, and not a little ashamed of his own unkind thoughts about Rune. Which goes to show you, kids, never judge a book by its cover. No matter how somebody looks or dresses or how different they may seem, people are worthwhile. And you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Just don't judge a book by its cover. There's more to people than what you can see on the surface. Trust me. I asked your own forgiveness. If I envied your rank, it was because I believe you held it as a lucky gift and took it for granted. You speak the truth. For a man to be worthy of any rank, he must strive first to be a man. Yes, that's what I meant, Rune said eagerly. That's why we must join the Master of Horse as soon as we can. Don't you see? In this I'd hope not to fail. I want to be the one who finds Princess Ilanwi. After all, I'm to be betrothed to her. Taran looked at him in astonishment. How do you know this? I thought only your parents. Oh, there have been rumors about the castle, replied Rune, and I sometimes hear a little more than I'm supposed to. I knew there was a betrothal in the wind even before I was sent to bring Princess Ilanwi to Mona. Ilanwi's safe return is all that matters now, Taran began. He spoke slowly, knowing his heart that he, no less than Rune, yearned to be Ilanwi's rescuer. But he realized it was a decision he must face without flinching. The searchers by this time are far distant, Taran said, each word costing him an effort, yet each word forcing him to a choice as painful as it was clear. Without horses, we cannot hope to reach them. Continuing our own search on foot would be too hard and too dangerous. We have only one path to follow, the one that will lead us back to Dines Ritnat. No, no, Rune cried. I don't care about the danger. I must find Princess Ilanwi. Prince Rune, Taran said gently, I must also tell you this. Your father asked me for my oath, and I have given it to keep you from harm. Rune's face fell. I might have guessed as much. Certainly I knew from the beginning. No matter what my father said about putting me in command, I wasn't really leading. No more than I am now. I understand. I'm under your orders. Whatever's to be done, you are the one to decide. There are others who can finish the task, Taran said. As for us... See with lookings! Burst out Gurgi, who had been crouching near a fallen ash tree. See coming with chasings and racings. He waved his arms excitedly and pointed to a low ridge. Taran made out a figure running at top speed, his harp bouncing at his shoulder, his cloak rolled up and clutched under one arm, and his lanky legs pumping for all they were worth. The bard dashed down the slope. He flung himself to the ground and mopped his streaming face. Great Beelern, Fluter gasped. I'm glad to see you all again. From his cloak he drew out the lost swords and handed them to the companions. And I think we shall all be glad to see these. Are you wounded? Taran asked. How did you escape? How did you find us? Still puffing, the bard raised a head. Give me a moment to catch my breath, for I lost it somewhere along the way. Wounded? Well, yes, in a manner of speaking, he added, glancing at his blistered fingers. But I had no trouble finding you. Rune must have carried off all the ashes in Glue's fireplace. I could hardly miss the trail. As for Lion, Fluter went on, the bards will sing of that, you can be sure. I must have played, sung, whistled, and hummed everything I ever knew, and twice over. I was sure I'd have to keep plucking and strumming for the rest of my life, however short that might be. Recall my plight, he cried, leaping to his feet. Alone with a ferocious monster, bard against beast, beast against bard. You slew her, Taran exclaimed. A bold stroke, though a pity, for she was beautiful in her way. Ah, well, the truth is, Fluter said hastily, for the harp strings had tensed, as though they might all break at once. As I've told you before, when Fluter stretches the truth, the harp responds and it breaks its strings, keeping him truthful. She finally went to sleep. I snatched up our swords and ran for dear life. Fluter sank back to the turf and immediately began munching the food Gurgi had offered him. But I should vouch for Lyon's temper when she wakens, the bard continued. She's bound to come after me. These mountain cats are trackers born, and since Lyon's 10 times bigger than an ordinary creature, she's surely 10 times more cunning. She'll not give up easily. I have the feeling her patience is as long as her tail. But I'm surprised you've not gone farther. I thought you'd be well on your way to join the search. Taran shook his head. He told the bard of the decision to return to Dinas Ritnat. I suppose it's the best thing to do, Fluter reluctantly agreed, especially now when Lyon might be prowling. Taran scanned the hills for the easiest and safest path to follow. He caught his breath. A dark shape sped high above. It veered, circled, then drove directly toward him. It's Ka! Taran ran ahead and held out his arms. The crow dropped swiftly and lighted on Taran's outstretched wrist. The bird showed signs of grueling flight. His feathers were askew and he looked like a bundle of rags, but he clacked his beak and jabbered excitedly. Alonway! Ka croaked. Alonway! And that is where we will end for tonight. That actually is probably my best time voicing Ka, which, fun fact, kids, ravens and crows are some of the most intelligent birds, considering that they have the ability, with training and with just being around, socially around other human beings, they're able to talk. It's totally a thing. You can look it up on YouTube. And there are a lot of different nature reserves and zoologists that talk about the anatomy and power of what it means for animals to be able to adapt certain tones into actual speech. Back in ancient days, there are some communities that would use crows as a means of a messenger bird, or who could relay messages from conversations from certain people. It's not like parrots where they just hear anything and they're like, Polly want a cracker. No, it's not like that. They don't want the food. I mean, they want food, but it's more so their minds and intelligence can pick up in ways of tonality of certain inflections that they're able to produce speech. So that's just a fun tidbit I wanted to share with you. I got my good tea going. I got my gingerbread candle. Thanks, Mom. I am so grateful for the wonderful things I get to do for people. This thing that I do for you all is a treat. I love my performances. I love being able to bring magic to what I do and try to pass along compassion and good lessons so that you, little one in the future, can pass it along to somebody else. Love is free, y'all. Kindness is free. Compassion is free. And I'll see y'all next time.